Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Voters in Ekiti State turn out in large numbers to elect the next governor of the state as the major candidates in the election, and observers describe the exercise as peaceful. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, makes overtures to former President Olusegun Obasanjo as members of the party National Working Committee hold talks with the former PDP leader in Abeokuta, Ogun State. And President Muhammadu Buhari promises inclusive growth through adequate infrastructure financing as he gets set to visit the Netherlands tomorrow. And Eritrea's President Isaias Afwerki makes historic visit to Ethiopia days after both countries declared their state of war over. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you, and on YouTube.com/channelsweb you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news and updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. The incumbent governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, is raising an alarm on the conduct of the election so far, and he is alleging conspiracy by security agencies whom he says allowed some elements to induce voters at different polling booths. Governor Fayose was speaking after casting his vote at his Afao Ekiti polling booth in Irekbodun, local government area of the state.
What they call see and buy money politics is thriving everywhere, with the police and civil defense giving signs to people bearing the money so that they can pay the voters. This is a national disaster. And I raised all these alarms that this election may be marred by violence, and that's exactly what's going on now. In almost all local governments, PDP chieftains are being arrested. Council chairmen, House of Rep members, majority of my people are being arrested. My chief of staff is in detention. He was arrested about an hour ago. This is national disaster. We fight corruption, but wrong people in authority is the worst thing that can happen to any nation. I want to say very expressly that the security agencies are enemies of Nigeria. They have taken over the election from INEC. The police authorities will refuse to pick calls. We can't reach any one of them. The thugs are operating freely with cutlasses and gun, AK-47 everywhere.
The governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose. Let's quickly cross over to Ado, the Ekiti State capital, where our correspondent Shehu Kimbaloye is standing by. You've been following developments there, and you just heard what the governor said. These are allegations, basically, about PDP chieftains being arrested in the state. Do you know about that?
Thank you so much, Kimba, and welcome to Ado Ekiti, the capital of Ekiti State. Well, this is the collation center of INEC for this election. Well, some of this information that you heard from the governor and some of those things that we can confirm to you. I did ask the DIG of police, Habila Joshak, yesterday on the news at 10 about stories of arrest of politicians and some people in power. He did tell us that they had nobody in custody. Whether any of such things happened earlier today or any time today, it's something that we need to find out from the Nigerian police. But so far, we do not have that kind of information, Gimba.
Okay, brilliant. That having been cleared now, you are at that collation center. Tell us what's actually happening. How long do we have to wait for this result to come through?
It might be somewhat a long night, considering the fact that as it stands right now, we do not have any news as regarding whether when any of those results will be turned in. there are 16 local government areas. We do understand that in some of the local government areas, the local government coalition activities are still going on. And if that is over, they will put the results together and they will bring them right here. And INEC will determine when the announcement of the results will take place. But if you can see just above my shoulder, just some of the seats that have been placed, it looks so much that everything is set for the announcement of final collation to take place, but not until when we have the trucks and the vehicles that conveyed the officials to the different local government, not until when we have them coming before we can know when this announcement will happen. But it really interests Nigerians to know that one of the things INEC did say they want to do is to do the electronic transmission of results. We will be waiting to see how that pans out. That is expected to lessen the time waiting, the waiting time for election results. But well, it's been several hours since the election and the polls closed. We're hoping that the results will start trickling in any moment from now. Gimba.
At this point, so many concerns have been raised about an allegation also of how these results will be transmitted, and the PDP basically are crying foul that there will be some sort of manipulation at the collation center itself. Do you have any information about how serious this is? Is this a veracity that we should be concerned about?
Well, for all I know about the election process in the last few years or so and how it has been improved over the last year, especially the last election in Anambra State up to this moment, what we know, and you will see a lot of results flying around the internet, different political parties have their own versions of the result. But what is valid that we need to know is that results have been announced at each of the polling center. So it's pretty much not a rocket science to have results, but INEC has come out to say no one is permitted by law to make announcement of results. That press release was turned out today at the INEC office right here by the REC, and this saying that, look, any result that is being found online should not be respected or given any attention. The only one that is authentic will be the one that will be announced by the chief returning officer in this election. But look, Gimba, this is politics. And some of these intrigues that we'll see over the years, what politicians will bandy results, and you find them everywhere. But I think it's going to be interesting and reasonable for all Nigerians to wait and see how these results pans out at the end of the day. That's going to be in another few hours, I guess.
Brilliant. We'll be keeping tabs with you, Shehu Kimbaloya, correspondent in Ado, the Ekiti State capital, to give us more, as much as he can at that particular time when those results will come through. But we earlier told you that the posting of about 30,000 police officers in Ekiti State for the election may have been justified, as many election observers say that the smooth conduct of the polls is hinged on the tight security situation in the state. But that did not stop them from calling attention to what they call vote buying by agents of some political parties.
Deserted streets, roadblocks, and a very unusual calm around the lively towns and communities of Ekiti State. Different uniform operatives dot every nook and cranny of the state, an obvious show of the sort of deployment for the election. At every polling unit, security operatives are not in short demand. Peaceful might be a way to describe the exercise at several centers. The conduct of police operatives are simply put by the NBA Election Working Committee. But the fears of vote buying rears its ugly head. At corners around some of the polling centers, agents of some politicians lock around to compensate those who do their bidding. Unstable as these shots are, we could capture police officials chasing some of the guys suspected to be inducing voters around the Ajilosun area of Ado Ekiti.
was quite impressive seeing that a lot of the polling units opened on time. Election officials were on time in several of the polling units. The anxiety about the security at this time is still under control. The police have been very helpful in a lot of the polling units. And what we're seeing is a calm, peaceful atmosphere. The turnout is good. People are coming out to vote. A major concern is the use of money in elections. We've seen a lot of monies being exchanged for votes, and I think it's something this country needs to face up to, that the abuse of the electoral votes by votes buying is a major issue.
Against criticisms of over-policing of the exercise, security operatives have perhaps gone through a tough bend to convince critics about their style, especially in terms of deployment. But the true test will come at the general elections next February.
And staying with politics, Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has continued to strategize in its bid to unseat the ruling All Progressives Congress at the federal level. As part of this move, the members of the party's nationwide the National Working Committee have held a closed-door meeting with former President Olusegun Obasanjo in his home in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The meeting, which lasted for about 2.5 hours, was attended by all the 21 members of the committee led by the national chairman of the party, Prince Uche Secondos. Mr. Secondos and a former national deputy chairman of the party, Chief Olabode George, who spoke with journalists after the meeting, explained that it was part of the consultations to chart a new course for the nation's leadership.
Obasanjo is a national leader of this country. He's a father of the nation. And so we came to consult with him. I believe that regardless of political parties, his direction is highly needed now.
We must be fooling ourselves if we don't tell ourselves the truth. This is not a matter of politics now. We need good managers for the management of the resources of our country for the benefit of the people. Period. That's all. Simple. So let Nigerians wake up. Let us wake up. Are you better off today than before? Ask yourself. If you're not, like they do in all the democratic governments in the world, you change and the others will learn. And we have learned a lesson.
A 3-hour heavy downpour in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, has left many buildings collapsed and properties flushed by the flash floods. The State Commissioner for Environment, while monitoring the situation and level of devastation done in Abeokuta, the state capital, challenged the residents on attitudinal change on the way refuse is being disposed across the state. This amateur video shows what residents of Abeokuta in Ogun State capital witnessed some hours ago after several hours of torrential rain. Properties worth millions of naira were said to have been destroyed after a massive flooding. The storm took down fences and flooded some houses in Kuto, Okemuson, Iyano Mortuary Axis.
It took like 3 hours before it stopped. But this damage was really surprised when it came up through the flood.
The situation attracted the attention of the State Commissioner of Police and the National Emergency Management Agency, who came to assess the level of damage.
They have responded to robustly. The Red Cross, the State Management, Disaster Management Agency, and the TRESCO, all the security agencies. We have unanimously, all of us were on board, working throughout the night and this morning alongside with the government, assessing the situation and talking to the psychology of the people.
We've been rendering assistance. This is not the first time. For what we have seen, we have discovered that people have built on a flood plain, they've built on a waterway, and the waste management issue too needs to be tackled very well.
The State Commissioner for Environment sympathizes with the affected residents, but challenges the people to change their attitude towards the environment.
This year, our NIMIT report has said we are expected to have some kind of flooding. That is why the government has been working assiduously on dredging of river canals, which your TV station is also aware of, the one we did in Ijebu and all across the state as well.
The residents are waiting on the state government for assistance after losing their properties. But instead, the government, through the Commission of Environment, has promised that it will continue to give priority to the environment. When the News at 10 returns, delegates at the Nigerian Export-Import Bank Roundtable call for speedy enactment of factoring laws for improved trade relations among African countries. Join us again.